Alright, Korg brought out Wavestation or iWavestation. So I thought I'd have a quick look at this. It's so 90s. The sound is bizarrely even more 90s than the Korg M1. So playing it, every time you mess around through the presets and play a chord, you'll suddenly find yourself transported to, if you're me, some record that you owned sometime in the early 90s, or that you heard on the radio sometime in the early 90s. Anyway, here we are. It's actually really great fun to play with. I'm enjoying it a lot. There's a couple of different things you can do with this, and you can combine those different things to make interesting sounds. So I've loaded up a sound here. This is my init program here. I've just got a single waveform loaded up, which is set to block 1. And if you're on this wave screen here, you can easily edit which wave you're playing just by drawing up and down here. So I can go and push up and down here. So let's try ticker. I've got KKK, whatever that is, HHH. So it's actually quite difficult to find anything useful here. This is mostly if you just want to just draw it up and down and find something random. Okay, so here we are. There's a sound called bowing. Now, if I go in and click edit here, this is kind of the envelope, if you like, for bowing, and it's just going to play constantly for a number of bars. Actually, the sound itself isn't long enough to do that, so we'll have a look at morph here. Now, at the moment, I've got this set up as a single waveform. Plot 1. And what I can do is I can set up a second wave, so I can have it as dual. Now I've got two sounds running at the same time. I've got this EP body 1 and this plot 1. And I'm currently morphed exactly between the two, so you should be able to hear both going on here. If I make this quad, then we start to see the kind of vector synthesis we're used to. If you've used cube synth or I don't know, any of those other vector synths, where you have the four sounds and you're morphing between them. So here I've got 4 sounds going on, and I can control how I morph between them using this terrific little generator here, which allows me to decide how. This is fantastic, this thing. So you can hear now I'm morphing between my 4 sounds. I can change those 4 sounds. If I double click on one of these, it'll actually take me to the browser, so I can select a sound with a little more control than just running up and down in that thing we were looking at earlier on. Close that. Right, so you can hear me morphing between the four waveforms, and how the speed that each of these legs takes can be controlled here. So if I want it to take a lot of time, then I can put that number up. If I want to take it less time, so it's going to go quickly, I can put that number down there. See, so it's going across. 3 to 4 is what happens when you let go of the key. So 3 to 4 is the aftertouch, if you like. And you can loop around, so I can set loops so that let's loop from 1 to 3 and back in a repeat loop. So right, so now we have this is really pretty classic classic vector synthesis, and it's and this arrangement here is really nice to play with. You can quickly build a good sound. So that's one thing you can do with this Wavestation. If I go back to here, now you can see these 4 sounds, and I can mess around with various other bits and pieces. I can change the pitch, say, of one of them. Let's see. So I'm actually vector sequencing. I'm actually going through the vector and passing to different pitches as well. Yeah, okay, so also good. Now, another thing you can do here, and actually I find browsing your way around this to be surprisingly difficult. So I'm going to go to the mixer. Okay, now here I've got up whole number of parts. I can set multiple parts. So this is just one part that I've created, and it's one sound that's morphing around 4 different waveforms with a bit of vector synthesis. Now I'm going to create another part. I'm going to create a part here, and I'm just going to pick on something that we've got. Vectorist, for instance. No, let's try that one. Close that. Okay, and if I go back to the wave sequence now, I'll scroll down. That's my new one here. Pole wind. At the moment, you can hear it's. If I go into edit pole wind, it's a single. It's a single waveform. So I'm not actually doing any morphing. It's just a single structure there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to let's see if I can remember how to do this. This is where it really gets me. Okay, go back to wave sequence. Go back to pole wind and edit that. Right, okay, here, you see where this block is? I've currently got this gate and it's running for as long as the note will run. I'm going to add in some extra sounds into here. Let's add a whole bunch. Okay, so now you'll see, if I zoom in here, I've got a whole bunch of different waveforms, each which are running for 1/16 of a bar. And I'm going to stretch some of these out because I want to have a bar's worth. So there's nice syncing going on here. It's very the sequencing of the waves is very nicely synced. What isn't nice though is these little blocks that you have to touch with your finger. They are really awkward to get right, and you have to make sure that you're getting a number up before you try and move anything. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. Okay, so there. Now you can see I've got a single bar's worth. That's my bar there at the bottom. And here I've got a bunch of different sounds, which I'm morphing through in this bizarre sequence I've created. Now I'm going to go back to the wave sequence map so you can see them here. Here they all are. And this is where this bit really comes into its own, because now I can just choose a whole bunch of random waveforms. Plus mixing in with these other sounds I've got going on. Now, if you don't like the abruptness here, because this sounds rather like I'm doing some beat splicing in one of the many beat splicing apps that you can do. So I'm going to go back into this, and where I've got this arrangement here, I can now morph between these sounds in a much more gentle way. So if I scroll, this is I have a bit of an issue with this, but I don't think the scrolling here is quite as neat as it could be. All right, here, if I can click on that white bit, I can now crossfade between these and make my transitions between these waveforms much more gentle. But getting onto that little crossfade button is really quite difficult. Let's see if we can do it with a pencil. Precision tool. No, it's not having it. All right, okay. Let's go back. Yeah, so shout out to you lovely Korg boys. If you can make this bit slightly easier to use, I'd be very grateful. Alright, okay, so now when I slightly less choppy, now I'm actually morphing between the waves. So and that's kind of as far as I've got, but that seems to be the essence of this particular synth. Is I've got things here where I've got a vector synthesis. I'm morphing between various waveforms. Here I've got something where I'm actually sequencing between waveforms in a timed way into a bar, which is why you can create whole drum rhythms. You can create really interesting sequences. So at the press of a button, it sounds like an entire band playing. And obviously I've only got 2 of these wave sequences set up here. You can have, I think it's up to 8 of them. So it's, if I go back to mixer, yep, you've got 8 of them here. You can set the balance between all these things. Another really interesting thing that you can do is you can set a delay so that they don't start all at the same time. So you can have this, so I can play here, and then after 2 seconds my sequence starts. So there's various things you can mess around with here. Anyway, recommend it. It's great fun. The digital sounds are so clean they make your teeth ache, but that's the joy of the 90s Wavestation. Okay.